and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Soap Floor, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG diehard fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jad, still viewing and reviewing the soapiest, suzziest primetime storyline of 1982. We are back in Dallas to see what's going to happen with John Ross Ewing III. So whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 45 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, be cool, be quiet, or you will be kicked out. Because we are watching our story. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soap Floor. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to another fun edition of Soap Floor. We are jumping into Dallas today. How you doing, baby? I hope you're doing good. I hope your day is shaping up well. I hope you got something crisp and delicious right next to you as you're listening to this. It's going to be a good time. Or at least I think it's going to be a good time. Full disclosure, I turned this on. Next thing I know, I wake up and I'm watching The Queen of Versailles. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I guess I was more tired than I thought I was. So I've literally only seen maybe the first 2 minutes of this episode. So this will be a watch and report style podcast today. I hope you guys enjoy those. We got some really good fan mail that I need to get into with y'all because I have a theory and I have a mission. So go ahead and pour yourself up something bubbly and bright as we jump into the first of our double scoop of Dallas, season 5, episode 4. I didn't even realize the name of this. A Little Boy Lost. I want to thank you guys for contributing to the show in every way. I appreciate the behind the scenes tea. I love hearing about your favorite parts. I love hearing about the characters you love. I love when you disagree. This is what this is all about. We are the official gathering place of vintage primetime soap operas. And I couldn't be more pleased with the information that has been pouring in. Thank you so much. If you have some fan mail or you want to send me a text, you can check the show notes of your mobile device. You'll see a link that says send us a text. Holla at your girl. Give me the tea. Let me know if you bumped into somebody at the mall. If you ever sat by one of them at a restaurant. If you dated somebody. I'm really looking for that kind of tea. Let me just say this. As a no longer newbie, but still newish to this, one of the hardest things to do is not dig into each and every character like I really want to. So I really appreciate when you guys fill me in. If you don't send a text, send an email, especially if you got a lot to say. Go ahead and email me at soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. That's soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what you think. Also, leave a review. Go ahead. I've been watching these shows for a while, and I have a theory about one in particular, and I want to see it brought back. I want to see Falcon Crest brought back to the screen. It doesn't make sense to me that it's never come to fruition. One of you guys told me that in 2012 they were going to reboot it, but decided not to. I can't think of any show that has been super popular where there's not been some sort of spinoff or some sort of reunion or some sort of reboot. Dallas and Dynasty are prime examples. I understand that Dynasty has gone a completely different way. They're not continuing. It's the Carringtons, but it's new people, new storylines, so that we're not actually extending the older storylines, which I think is fine. That works just as well. And then you got the way Dallas did it, where they just extended the story of the family. Both of those work because anytime a drama is about family, it doesn't really matter past or present, new or old, it's going to be the same thing over and over, especially when there's money involved. As far as Knots Landing goes, because it's an ensemble cast and because it's about a neighborhood, I suppose, even though there's not a spinoff that I know of, technically, there are other shows very similar to that. You don't necessarily need it to be about a family like on Dynasty or Dallas, but Knots Landing works because there's tension, there's different stories within a neighborhood, there's always going to be this sort of drama. Despite it not having a spinoff, it is a spinoff, so I'm going to count that as good. I'm going to count that as even Stevens. If they decide to bring it back, I mean, it would obviously have to be all new characters anyway, because this is a neighborhood. People move in, they move out, things change all the time. But I'll say this, the fact that Falcon Crest has never happened leads me to believe there's probably something else going on behind the scenes, some sort of clause, some sort of something that has not allowed this to reboot. It just doesn't make sense to me after watching it for 4 years. Also, I've always kind of thought this. So I've heard nothing but good things from you guys about Dallas, at least so far. Behind the scenes, IRL, seems like everybody got along. I kind of question that, not at the point I'm watching now, not on season 5, but at some point, I'm wondering what happened because Victoria Principal is never like around for any of the appearances. I don't know if she's just a super private person now and she just doesn't pop out, but it makes me wonder, like, does she leave the show at some point? Because she doesn't seem to be involved in any sort of reunion. And I do think that's a little bit different. I also heard that Valine was like that too. Excuse me, what's her real name? Joan Van Ark wasn't making appearances and stuff for a long time, but she's back out there now. You know, she's doing what she can. These ladies are in their 80s too. I don't really expect you to be doing a whole lot of traveling and a whole lot of chatter, chatter, chit, chit. It just surprises me that from what I've seen so far, I've never noticed Victoria Principal in anything. So, as far as I know, everybody got along on the set of Dallas, that Larry Hagman was a lot of fun to be around. They were cutting up. There's a lot of funny sort of behind the scenes stuff going on there. Dynasty would not surprise me if half of them got along and half of them didn't. I feel like there's a lot of divas on the show. The biggest of all being John Forsythe, in my personal opinion. I would say he would probably be the biggest, and Crystal, what's her name, Linda Evans? Yeah, Linda Evans strikes me as the most chill. I don't know that to be true, but I do get a sense that there was probably a lot of tension behind the scenes, and I fully intend to read Joan Collins's book at some point because I know she's gonna spill that tea. I know they have stuff going on. Knots Landing does not strike me as that sort of environment, though. That seems like that would be, how do I put this? Everybody on all of these shows are actors, right? If I would go from least serious to most serious, I would probably say Dallas seems like they didn't take themselves too seriously, although everybody was qualified and really good at acting with the exception of Ray and Lucy. No shade. I'm sure she gets better as time, but she, you know what I'm saying? She's young. I feel like John Forsythe took himself really, really seriously on Dynasty, and Diane Carroll for sure. There's no way she wasn't serious. But then you move over to Falcon Crest and Knots Landing. Both those to me strike me as the most serious actors. Like they take the craft the most serious. That's how they present themselves and all that they do. But I feel like on Knots Landing, it was more of a collaborative environment, where on Falcon Crest, you have people from the stage, and they are notorious for serious, super intense. You have some thespians as well on Knots Landing, but like I said, this feels more collaborative. It seems like they got to play with the characters a little bit more. They had a lot more time to develop them. This is what I get. It just seems to me that that environment was probably a little easier to be in, at least up until the point where I'm at now. Serious actors who don't take themselves too serious. Yeah, that's the vibe I get from them. But on Falcon Crest, I get serious actors mixed in with very not so serious actors. Probably didn't make for the best environment. That's always kind of been tap dancing in the back of my head. I know that Jane Wyman and Lorenzo Lamas were very close. That's Godmother and God's son. So I'm sure you probably couldn't say too much about his acting to her. Our good friend from Oregon dropped a little tea today that solidified this for me. Okay, listen to this. Jane Wyman's grip over the show was allegedly as ruthless as her character Angela Perm Rock God Channing. Her former co-stars, Mel Ferrer, aka Philip Erickson, rest in peace, Celeste Holm, aka Anna Rossini, and Simon McCorkindale, aka the Manimal Greg Reardon, had claimed in the press that Wyman drove them off the show. Jane Wyman allegedly had a running feud with Robert Foxworth, to the point where they measured each other's dressing room trailers just to make sure they were equal in size. When Foxworth became the director for the show, Wyman demanded CBS add a clause to her contract making her a director, although she never directed any episodes.
Let's take a quick break. I'm Eileen.
I'm Spencer, and we host the Royal Highness Podcast.
And for the past 2 years, we've watched George Ruh-Roh Martin shows Stoned, and then we've talked about them while we're still in hand.
Unscripted, unhinged, and gluten-free.
We've covered Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and then we kind of veered over to The Last Kingdom, but then Westeros once again called.
A Night of the Seven Kingdoms premiered January 18th.
So, while we hit pause on Uhtred and the final Fardacy panty, come on over, join us for Duncan Egg's adventures from a more elevated perspective.
Hey, we're current, we're topical this time.
And between new drops every Wednesday, catch up on our back catalog. Click the link, find us in your favorite podcast app, or search for us on YouTube.
Rated R for language and adult themes.
And some nudity.
I believe every single word of that. Listen, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's all the TV I watched. Maybe it's all the time I spent with geriatric people. I know a mean old lady when I see one. I don't think this is who she strikes me as. I don't know much about Jane Wyman, but I do think if you have an Oscar, you're coming from the old studio system. There are certain expectations. There's a certain level of professionalism expected of you. I cannot imagine that at her big age, she didn't expect people around her to come totally prepared, very serious. But then on the other hand, you got Robert Foxworth, who has struck me as very serious from the moment he stepped on screen. He takes everything serious. That the loose buttons, the aviators, the perm. You can't tell me they didn't have a little silent beef because of their hair. So yeah, that makes sense to me. You got two very serious people who could possibly both be the star of the show. And didn't one of you tell me too that Robert Foxworth was almost Blake Carrington, but he didn't like the script, I guess. Or he was almost JR. He was almost someone else. So I can only imagine after these shows have come out and they're successful, he needs this to be successful. I'm not saying he has a big ego. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not saying Jane Wyman's a bad person. I'm saying, well, you have two seasoned actors, one from the silver screen, one from the stage, both with perms that can't stop, won't stop. You're going to have problems. They're going to butt heads. It's going to be a problem. This is the kind of lore I dream about. This is what I'm talking about, Sophie. So if you got any tea, feel free to drop it in a text or in an email. Let's go ahead and see what's happening down in Dallas. When last we left, JR and Ellie had made their way down to the Sacred Cross in San Angelo, Texas, to visit John Ross Ewing III. JR had another plan, though. He wanted his mama to potentially take a bullet if anyone decided to shoot one. When she had the baby in her arms, he says, "Mama, into this helicopter." Quick aside, helicopters are terrifying. I used to think they were really cool, and maybe they are. This one, for whatever reason, seems extra small, and it is terrifying to me. I say use a helicopter in war or in rescue because it's like people almost have to be desperate to get in there. Your life has to be in some sort of danger in order for you to enter a rickety helicopter. But, I mean, I've heard they're fun in a lot of ways. We'll do helicopter tours. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. Ellie decides against stealing the baby. But that doesn't mean she's not big mad the whole way back to South Fork. So she don't say nothing to JR. Once they jump out of this very dangerous helicopter, she starts walking calmly towards the house. JR said, "Mama, you haven't said a single word to me since we've left that ranch." God bless the oblivious. He's either oblivious or he just doesn't care. He can't imagine why his own mama wouldn't talk to him. It reminds me of that Justin Bieber song that, "My mama don't like you and she likes everyone." No, his mama don't like him and she likes everyone. That's a totally different level of scumbaggery. She tells him as much. JR, you use me. You dirty little turd. You use me. You wanted me to kidnap that baby. He's like, "Well, yeah, Mama, I need my son." She's like, "You need him where?" "I need him back at South Fork. Don't you want him there? He's living in sin with his mother. I don't know what she's exposing him to. She's with a cowboy and he can't even walk." Oh no, that's horrible. He walks with a limp. Must be a terrible person. Ellie said, "Wait a minute. Let me wait. It sounds to me like you think you want the baby, but you don't want Sue Ellen back?" He's like, "No, I prefer just the baby." So Ellie has to really pay attention to him now. Like, wait a minute. What are you gonna do with this baby? You don't raise that baby. You're gonna see him 5 minutes a day. He's gonna be raised by like tutors and other people and stuff. JR's shocked. Mom, I figured you and Dad aren't doing anything. You're old. You might as well raise another grandchild. That's where Ellie said, let me stop you right there. Mama's got to have a life too. My days of raising grandchildren are over and done. I don't blame her. It had to be hell raising Lucy. You see, they barely got her out of high school. She was even banging her uncle half the time. So, I mean, yeah, no. Ellie tells him this, listen, if that kid comes back, he's coming back here with his mama. Now, JR is offended. Wait a minute. You would rather have Sue Ellen here than just the baby? She said, absolutely. There is no better place on earth for John Ross Ewing III than with his mother. I want both of them back or neither one of them. By the way, you absolutely disgust me. I like you even less than I did before I got on that helicopter. Now I'm going to keep both eyes on you. Keep your head on a swivel, JR. All right, I am 12 minutes in, and we need to talk about Pam. Pam might be slipping into some sort of psychosis. She's not doing well. Baby's on her mind all day, all night. Doesn't help if she works at a store. The store apparently sells more than clothes. The store seems to be like what I heard Sears used to be. On more than one level, you can buy clothes downstairs, maybe appliances and stuff upstairs, furniture and whatnot. Bobby spends the morning talking to a lawyer trying to get a legal adoption in Dallas. Now, I mention legality because he mentions legality. He tells Lawyer Boy, you're the last step for a legal adoption. Lawyer Boy hears this and says, why are you saying legal like that? Mr. Ewing, I don't think it would be wise to do an illegal adoption, especially with your family name. You guys can't really afford any bad press right now. So, Lawyer Boy says, well, let me put it like this. You are a Texas senator, Mr. Ewing. It's not a good look for you to have an illegal adoption. Bobby says, well, I can make real sure, real quick that I'm not in the public eye. I'll quit. I'll leave all this right now. I don't care no two ways about being a senator. But this baby thing is not looking good, and Pam is not looking good, and I can see his concern. She's starting to trip a little bit. It also crossed my mind that now that Ellie has removed herself as a baby watcher, she's done with all that. It's time for her to get out in these streets. If JR hadn't talked so cash crazy to Pam, I think she would be happy to raise John Ross Ewing III. Maybe not, though. I think everybody in the house feels like Sue Ellen is his mother. There's no need for them to dog her out just because he's dogging her out. Well, speaking of Sue Ellen, she is meeting with her own lawyer boy in San Angelo about this hearing for this divorce. It is worth noting that Sue Ellen's lawyer is an elderly gentleman with a sweet head of hair. It is fantastic. He tells her, okay, it's all about getting on a schedule. Unfortunately, we cannot move this trial to San Angelo. It'll have to be in Dallas. And as soon as we can get on the books, the sooner we can get it done. She asked for an ETA. He says maybe about a month, depending on how busy they are. She's like, okay, that sounds good. I'm so ready for this to be done. I can't wait to get this off of my chest. Dusty takes a phone call while Sue Ellen walks Lawyer Boy with the fantastic hair to his automobile. Once they get to the automobile, he says, Miss Sue Ellen, if there's anything in your past that might make some sort of difference about this case, you'll let me know, right? Now, I heard that, and at first I thought, oh, he wants to know about her going into the insane asylum. He wants to know any dirt that's going to be brought up in court that's not going to make her look favorable. But then I remembered that's neither here nor there because all of Sue Ellen's business has been splattered across the tabloids all over Dallas. All you have to do is go to the library and pull a paper and she's going to be in it. You know all of her business. This woman doesn't have any secrets. But JR does. So I started thinking, I said, now I hope she tells him that this man may or may not have knocked up her baby sister, who also put a cap in his ass, and then she got blamed for it. And Sue Ellen took the blame for it, even though she was an innocent woman. So I hope she brings that up because to me, that's the final nail in the coffin. Ain't no court system in 1981 Texas. Well, he's wealthy, so I really don't know. I don't know, and JR don't know. So back in Dallas, Sue Ellen's lawyer with a fantastic coif and JR's lawyer are supposed to meet up to get put on the books for the courthouse. Only JR insists on coming with his lawyer, which I believe makes the lawyer late. Like they were supposed to be there like 30 minutes prior. It's right at 4 o'clock. And when they get there, Sue Ellen's lawyer wants to know why JR is there. JR says he's just curious how this works. It's not illegal. They're like, yeah, no problem. Well, they can't get on the books because the guy who schedules the court appearances, he leaves right at 4 o'clock, and these two fools were late, so there's no chance of getting on that book today. Doesn't seem like they did this on purpose yet. Neither here nor there. JR now knows that he is in District 5 or whatever. He knows who that judge is, and he realizes that the judge does not know who's going to be in court until like day of, because someone else puts that information out. The scheduler guy. Seems like he's going to do something funny with that, and his lawyer's like, hey, please don't do nothing dumb. I am still an officer of the court, and I'm not going to be happy with you if you meddle in this in any kind of way. JR's like, I'm not going to meddle. I just think it's kind of funny that I know the judge is going to be hearing my case, but he doesn't know that. 100% this man is going to do something to make sure that that goes his way. Okay, the scene I'm watching now, we get to see Donna, I almost called her Donna Karen. Donna Krebs, Ray Krebs, and the other part of the cartel. Seems like they're in a court. I don't know why they'd be in a court. Maybe they're at a bank. Ray has gotten back the $3 million he took from Donna, and he's made a $100,000 profit. Punk Anderson is shaking his hand. I'm so proud of you, Ray. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I had to comment on this scene for no other reason than the Bolo Don himself. Punk Anderson be putting that ish on. He's got on a turquoise belt with a matching bolo tie. Listen, baby, I've watched many Westerns in my time. Nobody does it better than Mr. Punk Anderson. I love it. Shout out to the costume designer on this scene. Now, Ray and the other guys' outfits are kind of drab. They're just very normal. Nothing exquisite or extraordinary about either one of them. Donna is wearing this almost electric lavender color. It's just so bright. It's so vibrant against the backdrop. It's this really, everything else is super muted. It's tan and light gray. And Punk Anderson's outfit is not very different from Ray's or the other guys, but it's his coloring. You know, this is long before people gave a damn about skin cancer. So he is tanned within an inch of his life, but it's making the sort of creamy gray of his suit pop. They got him in a chocolate brown top, and then he's killing them, y'all, with the turquoise belt and matching bolo tie. God bless America. I love it. Love it. This may or may not be important at some point, so I'm just going to mention it. With the profit made from this new deal out of Lubbock, Ray feels like he can now open another account of ready money. Donna feels a little bit miffed about that. Like, why do you need ready money? He explains that's just in case there's a deal. I want to have the money ready, and now I don't have to dig into your account. She's like, I'd never care that you were digging into my account. He goes, I know, but it's not right for a man to have to ask for money. Totally get that. Totally get that. And thankfully, it worked out well. But we got to slide on to my girl, Sue Ellen. So I am at where are we at? We're about almost at the 16-minute mark. So Sue Ellen woke up and she has time today. She got it in her head that she's going to call her lawyer, have him come on over, and she wants to go ahead and she wants everything out in the open. Lawyer with the fantastic hair, you've heard about me? He says, I have. I did a little research. She goes, okay, so you know I was an alcoholic. Was, as in past tense. He's like, yeah. Okay, you know I went to a sanatorium? Yeah, and then you escaped and almost died. Yeah, I read about that. Okay, cool. Well, then you obviously know there was other men. He's like, I do. She goes, well, listen, that was me then. None of those men meant anything to me, and JR drove me into each one of their arms. And if he want to get ugly, I'm going to get real ignorant. He wants to get ugly, I'm going to be hideous. If he wants to name the men, I can give you enough women's names to fill a phone book, including my baby sister. That's what I'm talking about, Sue Ellen. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Air him out. Well, lawyer's nodding his head like, yeah, I believe that. He looked like the type to have a bunch of children. Have a bunch of women floating around the city. He seemed like the type. And she goes on, she's like, okay, if he's going to call me an unfit mother, I'm going to show the world that he is unfit to be a member of the human race. Now, good hair lawyer, who looks a lot like Robert Redford as I look at him now, says, okay, now you can't do that. As much as I would enjoy listening to this tea in court, you can't do that in Texas. If you were in New York or LA, yeah, you could probably get away with that. But this is Texas, and this is the good old boys club. I just need you to know he's going to paint you as a cheating wife who deserted him and ran off with another man. I just need you to know, baby girl, right out the gate, this is what you're up against. This is still the year of our Lord 1982. Things are what they are. We might as well be in 1400s at this point. Things are changing. They're just changing a little slower. I'm going to need you to be ready for anything. She has got to figure out if Who the hell's Susan? Kristen? If Kristen really had a baby or not. We need to get that drug out and be like, this was the tipping point. This was the thing that pushed me over the edge. I couldn't take it no more. Speaking of other people's sister, JR's trifling behind. Goes to pick up Afton, the afternoon crooner, Cooper, for a little, probably afternoon delight, and to run up on good old Judge What's-His-Face. This man can't leave well enough alone. This is what I'm talking about. He is floating around town very boldly with whomever he sees fit. But like the lawyer said, it's a good old boys club. Don't nobody care about that. You're supposed to be at home, not drunk, not worried about who he's sleeping with, raising his children. That's your only job. Well, anyway, JR and Afternoon Delight spot Judge What's-His-Face from across the room, and they sit down and they start making small talk. JR pulls the old girl trick. Every woman knows when you're going out, maybe you're going out on a first date with somebody and you're not really sure it's going to go well. What do? And maybe guys do this too. I don't know. But you have your friend, you have your homegirl call you. You're going to pregame at her house. Tell her who he is, where y'all going, why you feel apprehensive, all the things. She's going to know all the tea. If the date is going good, when you call her, she'll be like, oh yeah, it's under my bed. As in you wanted to borrow something, blah, blah, blah. If it's not going good, oh my God, oh, okay, I'll be right there. That's how you get out of it. JR pulls that, but with his secretary. So he's schmoozing with the judge, and after a drink, I'm going to make it clink. And he tells the judge, yeah, my dad and I have this venture. We just need a little capital from you. It's almost going to be an overnight profit. The judge is all ears. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Secretary calls. All she says, it's 12:45. Did I time it right? He's like, oh no. Tell him I'll be right there. Tell him to sit tight. He gets up and he says, could you see Miss Afton home safely? You already know she's going to bust it open this afternoon for sure, since she's not singing. And the judge is all, yeah, I don't mind if I do. Boom. Step one, locked and loaded. Judge is under his thumb now. Little blackmail won't hurt. Probably. Let me watch at least 20 more minutes of this before I say anything else, because this is already getting really good. All right. Glad I finished this up. This is a superb, excellent, wonderful episode. All right. So Afternoon Delight, Miss Afton, is at her job singing her song as one does when you are a country and western up-and-coming singer in Dallas, Texas, with a Sancho who keeps you employed on several different quests when you're not tending to his personal needs. Anyway, she's singing and whatnot. JR's there. The crowd is feeling her. He wants to know how things went with the judge. Wants to make sure that the judge was pleased in the sack. She tells him actually he wasn't pleased because nothing at all happened. We had a delicious, delightful lunch. We had conversations about his grandchildren. After that, he put me in a cab. I went home dolo to the all-expense-paid condo that you provide for me. Nothing at all happened. JR was like, man, you're losing your touch. He's like, yeah, about that. This job sucks. I'd really not like to be an afternoon lounge singer. I don't want to be Afton the crooner. Like, I'm so tired of the afternoon delights with randos. I'm tired of afternoon crooning. I need a record deal. JR, if you will look to the left and the right, you'll notice that on Knots Landing, CG has a full demo by episode 4. Dominique Devereaux with 2 little D's and Big Billy D has a whole hotel residency on Dynasty. I want something like that. JR says, I like my judges like I like my plans. I like 'em well laid. Didn't seem like you were able to deliver on that lay today, so guess what, baby? Winners get to make wishes. Keep singing. Well, unbeknownst to Afton, her big brother, Mitch the doctor, was sitting in the cut. He, for the first time, is putting two and two together. Oh my God. My sister is banging my uncle-in-law? Surely this isn't so. He walks up to confront her. Afton, Afton, what the heck was that? Why is JR so concerned with this? Why are you so upset? Don't worry about it, Mitch. That's all the confirmation he needs. It's like, oh my God, it makes me sick to think of you guys together. Don't judge me because I know an opportunity when I see it, Mitch. Afton goes back to her singing, right? And a lady in the crowd was hungry as hell. And I guess the chicken wings were on point that day. Before she knows, she goes to skin it with her teeth, I suppose, and instead of swallowing the meat, sucks the bone down her throat, starts choking. I hate to do this at this moment, but this is a time for a quick public service announcement. We're all adults here, I believe, right? You know, when you go out with friends and you make plans, you talk about the restaurant, what's good, what's not. Let's say you're going to a concert or a comedy show or something, a play, who knows. You discuss the venue, you talk about parking, you decide, okay, are we going to Uber there? Are we going to pick each other up? Are we going to meet there? Blah, blah, blah. You make all these plans. There's going to be cocktails. There's going to be a really good time. Okay, who's going to be the DD? Who's going to get us home? You figure all those things out. It is high time that we start including, who knows, the Heimlich maneuver in that conversation. When I tell you, Chicken Bone Chelsea is choking, her homegirls are hooting and hollering, help, help, help. Dr. Mitch runs over. When I tell you they give him a full podcast before he renders any sort of aid to this woman, I'm like, time's a ticking, baby, time's a ticking. So he is able to tap her on the shoulder. Can she speak? No, baby, she's choking on a chicken bone. They didn't give you her whole backstory. So he delivers a Heimlich. She discreetly spits said chicken bone into a blue cloth napkin, gasps for air. Her friend's like, oh my God, thank you, sir, thank you. The Mitch goes into that humble, it's no problem, it's no problem. Now, Afton's watching the whole thing, and despite their little tiff, she's like, yeah, that's my brother. It's my brother, Dr. Mitch. It's my brother, Mitch Cooper. Cooper. Mitch Cooper. Well, nobody thinks anything of that, but the next day, Mitch is at home eating brekkie when Afton comes over. She's like, you know your phone is off, right? Which is an odd thing to say in 1981. Sorry, guys, I think I said this episode is in 1982. We are still in 1981. Afton tells her brother that not only is his phone not working, he's missing important calls, and she knows of it because she's the one who called him. Don't worry, I've already called the telephone company to get your phone back on. But you remember that lady who was choking to death yesterday? He's like, yeah, I remember. Well, her husband called the restaurant. He wants to talk to you. He wants to thank you. Mitch humbly says, he doesn't have to thank me. It was the right thing to do. He's right. You're a doctor. It's probably so normal, even if he's not a practicing doctor at the moment. I mean, saving lives is kind of going to be the thing you're going to do for the rest of your life. Afton's like, don't be so stuck up, Mitch. If someone wants to thank you for saving their wife's life, you're going to go over there. You're going to be thanked. Plus, did you see the jewelry that this woman was rocking? He's like, no, I didn't see that because I was busy saving her life. She's like, well, I saw it. So go over there. Please don't look like a homeless person and bring shame upon our family. Please put on some well-fitting, clean, non-homeless looking clothes and go over there. I already got the address and I already told them that you're coming, so don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass me on any front, okay? Mitch makes it to Choke and Chelsea's house. And to his surprise, her husband is Dr. Chicken Bone Jones. He slides a check over to Mitch for $5,000, but we all know Mitch hates money. So he immediately rejects it. Dr. Chicken Bone Jones, he accepts that. He respects it even. Okay, so tell me about yourself, young man. How did you know how to stop my wife from choking? Mitch tells him, well, I just graduated from medical school. You know, they teach us how to save people from choking and dying and whatnot. And the doctor's like, oh, word? So what kind of medicine are you going to study? Well, I'm going into research. Dr. Chicken Bone Jones is like, oh, word? I figured all you little young guys want to be surgeons. That's the hot new thing, right? Mitch says, I've got a little training in surgery, but I really feel like research is where I belong. And the doctor's like, okay, cool. So, Mitch, I know you're not going to take my money, and I have places to be here in a little bit, but let's continue this at another time. Let's put a pin in this conversation. Look forward to hearing from me very, very soon, okay? Nothing else really comes of it on this episode, but it is very clear that Dr. Chicken Bone Jones might just be an ally for our good brother, Mitch. It's time for Mitch to come out of his broke boy era into his life-saving era, and maybe he'll be able to take Lucy a little bit more seriously now that he's got his own thing coming. You can earn the money. You're gonna have to get used to being somewhat wealthy, sir. You're providing a service can't really put a price on. Speaking of allies, it would appear that Rebecca J.G. Wentworth has been one to her son Cliff. Now, he can't get enough of her cooking. He's over at her house every chance he gets, eating a freshly made, home cooked meal. And she likes them. She wants to make up for being a deadbeat mom all those years, and she's happy to help a brother out with a job. It's the least she could do after leaving him with a drunkard of a daddy for all those years. You know what I'm saying? He had to raise his baby sister. It was rough. So she doesn't just hook him up with a job. She gives him a powerful position. There's a difference between a job and a position. Now, where is this position? It's at this little company, Wentworth Tool and Die. Now, the way she presented it to Cliff was, oh, my husband had this business. I don't really know a lot about business. You seem to know a lot, baby. Like, you're a lawyer, you've been all these things. Why don't you help your mama out? He's like, cool, I'll do it. Just this little company my husband owned. She makes him president of said little company. So Cliff shows up to work. It's a nice office. He's got a secretary, a very able secretary who's ready to help. She seems like she's going to be really good at her job. So he decides day one, he's just going to look over the company to see where they stand and make sure they're not wasting any money, et cetera, et cetera. So the books are brought to him, and he quickly figures out that this quote unquote little company that Rebecca has isn't hyperbole. It is indeed the littlest of the many companies that she owns. So Cliff invites a comptroller whose name is Forrest into his office, and he's asking him, like, why wasn't I made aware about these other companies? Now, Forrest is a good old-fashioned Southern gentleman. He can already immediately tell you nothing to drag me in nothing. Says my name is Cousin Bennett, and I ain't in it. If your mama didn't tell you, I don't know why she didn't tell you. That's between y'all. I don't know. Her husband was very low-key, kept a low profile, but dude owns like a mining company, an oil and gas company. He is papered up. Cliff's like, well, okay, even if she didn't tell me, I can't figure out why I haven't heard of this. Forrest says Mr. Wentworth kept a very low profile. Main offices are in Houston. He wasn't about all the, pomp and circumstance. I wondered at this point how Cliff was going to speak to Rebecca after this. Don't forget that Ham has already told Rebecca several times that Cliff really, really loves money. Now, I never got that impression from him. Seems like he wanted to be powerful. He wanted to be, and it wasn't as if he wanted to steal power. He very much earned all the power he ever got. So I was wondering all this time, how is Rebecca perceiving him? It seems like after she saw him in action, she's like, no, he's not greedy per se, but if I told him I'm rich, he's not going to love me. So over dinner, well, let me be clear. Over what looks like was a fire dinner because the boy has all but licked the plate clean, he decides to bring it up. So after Rebecca removes his plate, she brings out this just cartoonishly beautiful piece of pie. Not joking, it's like 5 inches high. Who has time to do this? Sets it in front of Cliff, and Cliff says, Mom, why didn't you tell me you own the other companies? She said, well, I wanted you to like me first, and I was afraid that if you knew I had a lot of money, you would only hear that part and you wouldn't hear the part about how I love you and how I'm really sorry and how I want to make up for lost time. I wanted you to really like me first before you knew anything else. And I'm really, really sorry if that hurt you. Like, she's already feeling guilty about that now, too. And he says, Mom, don't worry about it. You actually did the right thing. Yes, I like money, probably because I never had it growing up. So money has always had this sort of weird chokehold on me. I'm glad you did it this way because I'm not sure I would have been open to you if I had, I'm not sure I would have been able to get to know you first. Which makes sense. That might have just added to the pain to be like, so you could have taken us at any point, but you just didn't. You just didn't take us. That hurts. He tells her she did the right thing and that he's going to do his very best at this company. And if she feels like he's out of line at any point, just draw him back in. Well, she goes, well, how do you feel about me now? He goes, I feel like I have a mother. You are my mother. And I didn't realize how much I missed you. I didn't realize how much I was missing out on. I've never had like a real honest to God mom, and it feels really good. You almost start crying. That was beautiful. I did not expect that to go that well. And it's easy for me to be like she definitely needs to earn that a little bit more. I do think it's a little bit too deceptive to, I guess it's not deceptive. It is a little bit manipulative. Not mentioning that you're rich and that you've been rich for a very long time, all while your children were struggling. That is equally as hard, in my opinion, as coming to terms with the fact that you left and you've been alive and you knew about us. You knew about us all this time. You had the means to take care of us and you didn't. And you also didn't tell your husband about it. I understand the circumstances weren't perfect, but there's a lot to overcome in these relationships. So I'm not saying she can't win for losing, but any information withheld at this point, it's going to benefit her more than it's going to benefit Pam and Cliff. But I mean, she turned out well. At least he got a pretty good job he's probably not going to get fired for. So anyway, it all ends well. They seem good together. Oh, after he tells her, Mom, you might need to rein me in if you feel like I'm getting too big for my britches, and she tells him, I like you just the way you are. I'm not going to change a single thing about you. You run this how you need to run this. That's all beautiful for them. But they might need to start calling Pam over for dinner too. Pam might need some pie or something because Pam is off the rails this episode. She might be on a pill. So Bobby comes home one night and he finds her in bed. She's catatonic. She's not asleep. Her eyes are open, but they're heavily lidded and she's unresponsive. Now, Bobby pulls the same stunt that the women at the restaurant when Chelsea Chicken Bone was choking. Nobody calls 911. I guess it's not the same thing. He doesn't dial 911, he dials an actual doctor. He doesn't just shout for one. He says, Dr. So-and-so, could you come on over here? Something's wrong with Pam. Dr. So-and-so comes over and he administers her a drug. He gives her a sedative. I'll repeat that. The doctor who has studied medicine comes over to the house and he sedates an unresponsive, catatonic woman who appears to be paralyzed in bed. He gives her a sedative. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I've definitely watched several hours of Grey's Anatomy and the Discovery Channel. Does she need a sedative? She's already catatonic. I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to deepen her. Never mind. You feel me though, right? Well, I guess she falls asleep or whatever. So the next morning she wakes up a little bit embarrassed. Like, damn, I had a whole doctor over here. I was tripping. She told the doctor that she felt like she was in a dream, like she could hear Bobby, but she didn't really feel like it was real. So she felt no need to respond. She's come on, that's a little deeper than whatever. And the doctor said as much. He's like, y'all might need to get her to a psychiatrist. She needs to talk to somebody. Keep her day normal, blah, blah, blah. So the next morning, she shows up at breakfast and she's like, Miss Ellie, I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what came over me. I feel better now, feel 100% better. I'm going to go to work and stop slacking off. Bobby says, well, hey, why don't I take you and then we can have dinner tonight? So that sounds like a plan, baby. Let's do it. Only she goes to work and she spaces out. Her assistant's calling around at some point during the day. She calls Bobby because Pam said that she was going to her boss's office, but that's been over an hour ago. And her boss called and said she never showed up. And this is, mind you, this is just a couple of floors up. It's like one or two floors above where Pam's office is. So she couldn't have gotten lost. Maybe she decided she was going to lunch. I don't really know. She's tripping. So Bobby ends the episode in a panic, wondering where she's wandered off to because we'll get to that here in a second. She's been completely different all season, all 4 episodes. She's been a little bit off, but this episode, she is way, 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 way off the rockers. So we don't know where she has stumbled upon to. We don't know where she has ran off to. But as one sister floats out of frame, another one floats in. So Cliff and Rebecca are leaving Rebecca's apartment. They're headed out to different places. Cliff's going to drop her off downtown. She has a meeting. He's going to go back to work. When you hear this cab come tearing up the little driveway and it's honking its horn, this youngish brunette girl with eyes just like Rebecca's hops out of the cab. Rebecca hugs her. Oh my girl, come here, come here. She says, this is Cliff Barnes. The girl knows who this is. She says, oh my God, I've heard so much about you. So wonderful to meet you. Cliff's looking like, okay, who this is? Rebecca says, Cliff, this is Catherine, my daughter, your sister. I'm saying it now, Catherine is trouble. Catherine gave me the heebie-jeebies. She gave me the full-on creeps. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. I don't like it. You guys already know my theory about a relative coming into town. No good deed comes from this. Although I think I might have to revise that thought process or Dallas. Seems like JR is the only villain you really need on this show, but whenever a brand new relative shows up, i.e. Kristen, big trouble. Afton's not, she's trouble, but not really to anyone other than herself, and maybe Sue Ellen if Sue Ellen took it personal. But yeah, we got a brand new sister in town, and I don't like it. This sister has money. This sister's power. This sister might not like sharing. And I think she was kind of into Cliff. It made me a little bit uncomfortable. But also, I think she might be a little kookaloo too. And that's got to come from Rebecca's side because Pam's not even Digger Barnes' daughter. Or I guess that could come from her other daddy's side. Neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. Okay, let's get down to business. Let's get down to the showdown. Back to JR. So JR is back in the semi-good graces of his mother, and one morning at breakfast, he immediately fumbles at Grace by announcing that he has plans to more or less buy off the judge. He tells his mama that he's going to bring the judge who's over the proceedings into a new business venture. Now, Ellie listens objectively, and she says, JR, sounds mad illegal. He's like, no, Mama, it's not illegal. It's business. If we have a business deal, what's wrong with that? I can do business with whoever I want. Plus, my hearing isn't enough for another couple of weeks. It is what it is. What he's leaving out is the fact that the judge does not know that he's over JR's proceedings. He has no clue. And it is a judge that they know, that the family knows. So, JR is banking on the judge getting in bed with him with this new business deal, being satisfied with the business deal, and then boop, one morning he's going to show up to work and be like, oh, J.R. Ewing is in court today. What is he going to do? He didn't really have a choice. And it's not bribing. He's technically right. It's not illegal because the judge is none the wiser. But on JR's part, it is totally illegal. Anyway, at some point during the day, he gets a call. And mind you, he thinks that their hearing is not going to be for another couple of weeks. No, whoever's on the phone's like, yo, your trial is tomorrow, so be ready. So back to that morning. Morning of the trial is the same morning that it's the next, whatever. That morning. Okay, I need to clear up something. So Pam and Bobby go into town together. I'm assuming that must have been the day before. So on this fresh new day, this is the day she's going to wander off into the ether. We'll figure out where she is next episode. On that morning, she's outside having breakfast, and they're talking about the trial coming up. And JR starts mouthing off to her like, well, this is halfway your fault. If you wasn't so crazy and had you not kidnapped my son, none of this would be going down. And she's like, dang, you're all hard. You're a good man. He says something else slick, and Bobby threatens to stomp a mud hole in him if he disrespects his bride one more again. JR decides it's in his best interest to keep his mouth shut. Fast forward to the trial. So unpredictably, at the trial, JR's lawyer plays up the abandoned father angle. This woman ripped this child from this man's arms. She had him kidnapped. She ran away to be with another man. She's being super immoral. It's not good for the kid. The kid needs to be home with his pops, lest he be further traumatized and exposed to his mother's immoral behavior. Now, Sue Ellen's good hair lawyer insists that although Sue Ellen and John Ross are living at the Sacred Cross in San Angelo, they have separate sleeping quarters because this family is wealthy, and she and Mr. Dusty do not share a bed. All morals are intact. No need to worry. He answered that blame JR and his lawyer for being like, yeah, right. They've already discussed. They've cheated on each other. We're not going to drag each other's name in the mud, but it seems like a likely story. Good hair lawyer says, I have sworn statements from all of the house staff that corroborate the story. They are not sharing a bed. JR's lawyer like, quit lying. Quit playing. You think a house staff is going to go against the people who signed the check? Yeah, that's not happening. That's real stable. So the lawyer looks at Sue Ellen. Sue Ellen turns and looks at Dusty. Dusty's daddy looks at Dusty, who's still looking at Sue Ellen. Dusty subtly nods his head as to say, go ahead, baby. Tell him. Sue Ellen looks at him with love and a little bit of sadness in her eyes. She kind of looks like, dang, I don't want to. And then she turns back. She looks at her lawyer, who's still looking at her. And she gives him the nod. Lawyer goes on to ever so gently explain the good Dusty was in a terrible, terrible accident. 'Twas the love and devotion of Sue Ellen that made him crawl over the majestic mountain landscape of San Angelo back to the Southern Cross to heal. Only that wasn't enough. He watched his beloved from afar, found the strength to love her physically by walking, not physically in the other way. You know what I'm saying? Her love was the antidote. The strength in his spine and his legs and his muscles and the synapses in his brain that tell him to fire to the legs and the spine and all that. Yeah, she did all that. Love, pure, unadulterated love. But her love was not strong enough to strengthen his other love. Well, it is, but it's not, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? Basically, good hair lawyer eloquently puts what I cannot. He says the accident rendered him impotent. They do not share a bed, and they will never share a bed. They'll never share children. They'll never have intimate moments like that. They are going to have a sexless but not loveless marriage. So my good sister Sue Ellen and the love she and Dusty share, it's pure. Comes from a good place. She unshackled herself from the oppressive and depressive cage of despair that was her marriage to JR. She didn't leave her husband for the pleasures of the flesh. She renounced them. She is showing her son the finest example of true love in action, purest love and devotion he'll ever see in his life. Now, the rest of the court is like, dang, really? Dang, it's like that. Now, oh God, I don't know what to think of this scene. It's not embarrassing. Nobody should be embarrassed about that. You know what I'm saying? But it's still nobody else's business. I understand they had to play that card in order to sort of clear her name, and everything the lawyer said is true, but also it ain't nobody's business. The judge goes into his chambers to read over all this, to really put everything into perspective, and you're left wondering, is this the good old boys club where man in Dallas had his kid kidnapped by his soon-to-be ex-wife, something needs to be done, bring the baby back where it belongs, or is the judge more like Ellie, who thinks the baby needs to be with his mom? There's no reason why he shouldn't be with his mom. She's not hurting him. Plus, on top of everything else, Sue Ellen really don't want to be with your ass if she'd rather be with a man who she will never be intimate with. Because it ain't about that, really. You might as well have a good life with the man versus having a few hot and bothered moments every 8 years or so. Actually, the more I say this out loud, this probably wasn't that difficult of a choice. The judge comes back from his chambers and he says, temporary alimony is rewarded to Sue Ellen Ewing in the amount of $5,000 a month, which comes out to $16,794 a month in today's money. She also retains temporary custody of John Ross Ewing III. Child support every month is $1,000, which turns out to be about $3,359 in money today. So our girl is walking away with almost $20K a month, which is $6K back in the day, but about $20K a month. Plus, she's already booed up with a rich man. Jackpot, baby. But she deserves it. It ain't about the money of this. I'm sure she would be happy with $2-3. Whatever it takes to not be up under you, I'll take it. All right, guys. That was a good episode, right? That's a lot happening now. So I'm surprised there were only 4 episodes into the season and they're already like clearing space. Kind of sounds like Sue Ellen's not going back. Kind of sounds like Pam needs to be in an institution for a little bit. Bobby better, I don't know where, they need to travel outside the U.S. and get a baby. Or maybe a surrogate at this point. I don't know. They got options. They got money. There's ways around this. Plus, Rebecca J.G. Wentworth is loaded. So if we need a surrogate or two, let's do that. But we got to get this girl a baby. Plus, I'm all but convinced that Jesse Metcalf is her son. He's got to be. He's got to be. I hadn't watched New Dallas, but that's what I think. All right, guys. Oh, also, if you listened through the whole show and you heard my theories about Dallas and Pam, what's her name, Victoria Principal, if I'm right, don't tell me. Or at least don't tell me till it gets close. I've gotten this far, which is a miracle, the way things work nowadays. It is a miracle that I've gotten this far, and I don't know what I still don't know much, but that is through effort. It takes a lot of effort to avoid things you love. But y'all let me know. Any thoughts on this episode? Any thoughts on the podcast in general? Any thoughts on any other shows that are popping up? Let your girl know. Oh, also, if any of these people who star in these soap operas are in anything else that you think I might be interested in, please let me know. I do find a little bit of comfort in being able to see them in other things and watch those freely. Like I can binge the other shows. I can't do this one. All right, guys, I think that's it. That's all for this episode. Join me next time as we jump into season 5, episode 5 of Dallas. And then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program. We're going to shovel it up. I think we're starting off with Dynasty after that. In the meantime, in between time, find a friend who knows the Heimlich maneuver. You do not have time to give a dissertation while I'm choking. Okay, get your girl some oxygen, then we can talk all we want after the fact. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, chew your food. It's so embarrassing to be a 38-year-old woman choking on chicken bones because the wings were popping. Get it together, Chelsea Chicken. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV.